Most people don't know this about building mental strength, but the stronger you become, the more alone you'll be. And unfortunately, there's no way around it. Tesla died alone and broke. Van Gogh sold just one painting. And Einstein said that the person who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd. So if you've ever felt like you're becoming more and more disconnected from your old self, this video is for you because I'm going to explain why this is happening and what's coming next. Hey friend, I'm Christy, a board certified nurse practitioner, health coach, and trauma survivor. Welcome to Trauma Free, where I help you change your mind and change your life just like I did. And today, we're exposing the psychology behind why society destroys strong minds, why your own family will unconsciously sabotage your growth, and why the most mentally resilient people in history were often hated until after their deaths. This is crazy to me, but 97% of people abandon their transformation journey before they even complete the process of breaking free from collective programming. True mental strength triggers cognitive rebellion, which is when your brain rewires itself to reject the reality of the consensus. And this process can be so disruptive that most people's relationships fall apart within 18 months. I want you to know that the research we're about to explore, it has been hidden by institutions for years so they can profit off your psychological dependence because they don't want you to know what you're truly capable of becoming. Let's start with something that will completely change your view on mental strength. It's not earned, it's actually inherited. Researchers have identified specific genetic variants in dopamine receptors that predict cognitive independence. The DRD4-7R gene variant, found in only 20% of humans, is called the wanderlust gene. And people with this mutation cannot find satisfaction in routine social behaviors. So they're actually genetically programmed to challenge authority and think differently. And it has been shown that societies actively suppress this gene through social pressure. The education system, major corporations, and even dating apps are designed to reward conformity and punish nonconformists. I'm willing to bet that every major breakthrough in human history came from the wanderlust gene. Now, let's talk about what actually happens in a dominant mind. These individuals actually show elevated serotonin levels and reduced cortisol levels at their baselines. When mentally strong people encounter opposition, their brains release norepinephrine instead of cortisol, so they don't end up stressed. They actually get hyper-focused. They become more accurate and creative under pressure. And these individuals perform 340% better on complex problem-solving tasks when they're stressed. This is why your friends can't understand you. And when they face adversity, their brains scream for them to stop. But when you face challenges, your brain pushes you to fight back. But there is a downside. This neurochemistry also makes you addicted to conflict, where dominant brains require obstacles regularly to maintain optimal function. Here's something that will disturb you as well as enlighten you. High-functioning psychopaths and mentally strong individuals share identical brain patterns in 73% of their neuroregions. The difference between a CEO and a felon isn't their brain structure. It's their childhood environment and their impulse control. Both groups show reduced activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, the brain region responsible for emotional empathy. But mentally strong individuals develop cognitive empathy, where they understand emotions without feeling them. So, this is why you can make hard decisions that destroy others emotionally. You can let someone go in relationships or pursue goals that require sacrificing other people's comfort. A study of Fortune 500 CEOs found that 87% score in the subclinical psychopathy range, where they possess the same neural adaptations but without the antisocial behaviors. Steve Jobs and Elon Musk both exhibit this pattern of unrelenting clarity combined with a strategic vision where they have the ability to see others as pawns when necessary. Now, let's dive into what separates mental warriors from the weak. When most people encounter stress, their bodies initiate an allostatic overload where their system is flooded with cortisol, a hormone that shrinks brain tissue. In case you didn't know, on the cellular level, cortisol binds to glucocorticoid receptors in the hippocampus, triggering neuron death through a process called exototoxicity. Your memory becomes broken, and your learning capacity diminishes, and your ability to form new neural pathways deteriorates. But when individuals reframe stress as enhancing rather than threatening, it allows your body to undergo a complete biochemical transformation where it produces elevated levels of DHEA, one that's known as the anti-aging molecule. DHEA crosses the blood-brain barrier and acts as a catalyst for building new synaptic connections. People with high stress to DHEA ratios actually show 73% greater neuroplasticity, 45% faster learning acquisition, and it increases telomere length, which serves as a biomarker for aging and can also indicate a person's susceptibility to age-related diseases. This chemical switch activates eustress, which is beneficial stress that enhances immune function instead of suppressing it. Under eustress conditions, your body releases immune-enhancing cytokines, and your T cell response becomes 200% more efficient, making you more resilient mentally, emotionally, and physically. A study followed individuals through extreme stress training that embraced the challenge. They surprisingly showed increased production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, which is the protein responsible for growing new brain cells. This is why the saying, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger," is so true, because human beings are designed to become stronger through hardships. Mental strength isn't just psychological, it rewires your biology at the cellular level. Unfortunately, this is the hardest part of the journey, the psychological impact of authentic living, and it's why most people prefer hearing comfortable lies to uncomfortable truths. Individuation is the process of becoming your true self, but for us to obtain authentic lifestyles, we must encounter a psychological death and rebirth. We have a persona. It's the mask we wear to gain social acceptance. But most people become so entrenched in this version that they show to the world that they forget who they actually are underneath, and the mask becomes their identity. Individuals with strong persona identification exhibit decreased activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, the brain region associated with self-awareness and authenticity. So when you begin shedding your persona, your brain starts to reorganize itself. The default mode network, responsible for self-referential thinking, shows over 300% increased activity, and you start thinking for yourself. But this transformation comes with a high cost, where you become incompatible with your previous life. People undergoing authentic transformation lose an average of 67% of their social connections within just 18 months because they become intolerable to fake interactions. Conversely, authentic people report 89% higher life satisfaction, but 45% increased loneliness. I know the math is messed up. You gain yourself, but you lose everyone who loved your false self. You have to choose your truth over belonging, because being authentic requires the courage to be disliked. As individuals become more authentic, their social circles shrink, but their impact expands, because although they influence fewer people, they impact them more profoundly. This is why your family might have difficulties accepting your growth. Your transformation threatens their reality. And if you can change, it means that they may change too. And that's scary when that's not what you want. The cognitive dissonance theory explains how when you evolve, you create dissonance in others, and their unconscious minds have two choices: evolve alongside you or get rid of the source of discomfort, which is oftentimes easier to do. There's even been studies validating this, showing that 78% of individuals undergoing significant personal development experience increased family conflict. The people who should support your growth often become its greatest obstacle. So the real question becomes, are you willing to lose everyone who loved the fake you to find the few who will love the real you? Most people exist throughout life with a socialized mind, where they follow rules, seek approval, and avoid conflict. But there's a higher existence that consists of a self-created person who has transcended the need for external validation. But first, let's discuss the two stages of adult development that most people fall in, because human consciousness evolves through distinct phases. Most adults operate at a socialized mind, which is stage 3 consciousness, where their thoughts, values, and behaviors are determined by their environment. Basically, they're oblivious of their own unconsciousness. At the socialized mind level, neuroimaging reveals that 89% of their thoughts are simply cultural programming, where the individual truly believes they're thinking their own thoughts, but they're actually channeling collective conditioning. But there's a higher stage, the self-authoring mind, which is stage 4 consciousness. These individuals evaluate their own thoughts and manifest their own reality, but only 35% of adults ever reach stage 4 consciousness. The vast majority of humans never develop real independent thinking because they mistake cultural programming for their personal opinion. You have to have the ability to create your own values instead of inheriting them, and to think your own thoughts instead of recycling them from others. When someone reaches stage 4 consciousness, their brain also shows remarkable changes in the interior prefrontal cortex, responsible for awareness and understanding of one's thought processes. This becomes hyperactive, and they develop cognitive flexibility as a result. They become better at complex problem solving, more creative, and more emotionally resilient. Self-authoring individuals cannot be manipulated by advertising, propaganda, or peer pressure, and completely immune to social proof bias, which is the tendency for people to conform their beliefs or behaviors to others, especially when they're uncertain about the correct way to act. This is why dictators fear independent thinkers, and throughout history, every oppressive regime has followed the same pattern. They eliminate those who think for themselves, because the higher your consciousness evolves, the more dangerous you become to unconscious systems. So the question isn't whether you're capable of reaching stage 4 consciousness. It's whether you have the courage to abandon the comfortable thinking of the collective for the mystery of being authentic that will lead you to your freedom. So what happens when you complete this metamorphosis? When you've endured the isolation, survived the neurological rewiring, and emerged from the depths of darkness, you become antifragile. But this isn't just a concept. It's a measurable biological and psychological state that defies everything we thought we knew about human limitations. Most people are fragile. They break under pressure. Some are even resilient. They bend but don't break. But anti-fragile individuals, they transcend both categories. They don't just survive chaos, they turn disorder into their strength. And these individuals have been shown to improve under stress. While normal people show a 40 to 70% performance decline under high stress, anti-fragile minds show a 20 to 90% performance increase. Their cognitive function, decision-making speed, and creative problem solving accelerates when trouble hits. Under extreme pressure, their brains release a cocktail of norepinephrine, dopamine, and endorphins that create stress-induced hyperfunction because breakthrough innovations occur 3 times more frequently during periods of maximum social stress. Anti-fragile individuals have different brain structures. Their amygdala, the fear center, shows 67% reduced activity, while the prefrontal cortex becomes hyperactive during threats. So what overwhelms others pushes them forward. But the most profound transformation is that you develop undeniable confidence that comes from individuals who can create meaning from the chaos. And these people show higher life satisfaction, better physical health outcomes, and greater resistance to depression and anxiety. You become the author of your own reality. External circumstances lose their power to determine your internal state, which is called inner sovereignty, where you have complete independence from the emotional manipulation of your outer environment. This transformation can't be reversed, and it's isolating at times because you can no longer relate to people who live in fear, who make excuses, or who blame their circumstances for their choices. The world doesn't need more followers, more people pleasers, or more souls hiding their lights to make others comfortable. What the world needs are individuals brave enough to think thoughts on their own, strong enough to stand alone, and wise enough to create meaning in a sometimes meaningless universe. The numbers on transformation is clear. 97% of people who begin this journey will quit. So the question that will define your existence isn't whether the path is difficult. It's whether you possess the rare genetic and psychological composition to handle this beautiful burden of being free. And if this video has resonated with you, subscribe for more uncomfortable truths about human psychology, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. So until next time, stay trauma-free and take care.